Hello, students. The same chapter we are going to discuss understanding secularism. The topic which we are going to discuss today is how Indian state functions as secular. How we can say that Indian states are secular. The first point written in your book is that you have to separate or distance the state from religion. The state from religion should be separated. If I talk about central government and state government, they don't have representatives that belongs to only one religious community. The leaders who are in your central government and state government, they don't belong to only one community, only one religious community. They belong to different religious communities. So here they are saying state does not promote any type of one religion. Okay, state does not say that only follow one particular religion, because India is a secular country. Secular means when there is no official religion of the country, you are free to follow any religion of your own. The legislature means who make laws. The executive who execute the laws. The judiciary or all the courts. These three cannot discourage or promote any one particular religion. Your legislative, your executive, your judiciary, they cannot support, they cannot discourage any one religious community, one particular community, because every religion is equal in the eyes of law. You are free to follow any kind of religion over here. They are saying here, in other words, if talk about courts, police station, government, they also cannot promote or discriminate one particular religious community. Here one chart is there in your book, storyboard is there. Their government school is there of Madhopur. They went to principal and they said, we want to celebrate Durga Puja in the school. The students want to celebrate Durga Puja in the school. So the principal said that Durga Puja is a Hindu festival. Okay, if we celebrate Durga Puja in the school, then we are supporting one particular community, and it cannot happen. You cannot celebrate Durga Puja in the school. 1 week holiday is there. Go to your home. Okay, in your neighborhood, celebrate that Durga Puja. Because one particular religious community cannot be promoted in schools also. That's why you are getting holidays on the day of the religious festivals, to know the importance of that festival. On the day of religious festivals, holiday is being given, public holiday is there, that you should know the importance of that festival. Either that festival is of Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or Christian. Understood this first topic, distancing it from religion. Second topic is state practice secularism through the policy of non-interference. Okay? So here they are saying that state practice secularism through policy of non-interference, that you cannot interfere in the religious affairs of any community. That state will not interfere in any religious affairs of any community. This is in the second part. If I talk about, the state respects every religious sentiments, every religion sentiments the state should respect. Every religion the state should respect. If I give you example, the state has provided facility that you can go on pilgrimage, a journey to the sacred place. Okay, you can take out the religious procession. But whatever you are doing, you're going on a pilgrimage, or if you are doing any kind of religious processions, this should be without any kind of discrimination. There should be no discrimination while you are doing religious procession or while you are going on a sacred place, okay, to any pilgrimage. So they are saying here that the state also makes certain exceptions for the benefit of the community sometimes. Like you can do religious processions, but discrimination should not there. You can go on the holy places, pilgrimage to holy places, to the sacred places. That also state provides you for the benefit of your community. Here also one storyboard is there. One army soldier is standing, another is Sikh standing. So army soldier said to Sikh soldier that why you are not wearing the cap? You are wearing the turban, the pagdi. Okay, this is the army uniform, the cap. Why you are not wearing it? He is asking the Sikh. He said, Sikh said, I am allowed to wear the turban instead of the army cap. Okay, turban is a part of uniform. If I talk about Sikh, turban is a part of uniform. So the army man asked, why? So the Sikh said, because for us, turban is a religious mark. It is of religious importance to us. That's why turban is a part of our uniform. Okay. This privilege is being given to Sikh by the government only, that they can wear turbans. This privilege is being given by the government only. Okay, because it is their religious mark. So here they are saying in the storyboard, the Sikh soldier does not wear army cap, he is wearing turban because government has given him the permission. Okay, it is according to the norms of the government. This privilege is being given to Sikh that they can wear turban. Now, if I talk about Sikh, the religious practice of Sikh needs to be respected in this. Because this is the religious practice of the Sikh people, it needs to be respected. Now, the third point, there should be a strategy of intervention. There should be a Here we are talking about strategy of intervention, untouchability. Earlier, untouchability was being followed. Untouchables were the lower caste Hindus and there were the upper caste Hindus. Upper caste Hindu used to discriminate the lower caste Hindus, those are known as untouchables. Untouchability is being banned in the Indian constitution. It is being banned now in India. Okay. Article 17 say that you cannot follow untouchability in India. The state bans such a social practice. Okay, because in our constitution it is being written that you cannot follow untouchability. It is the violation of our fundamental right, because it is the fundamental right to equality. If you are discriminating in lower caste and upper caste Hindu, then this discrimination is violating the fundamental right to equality. So you cannot violate the fundamental right. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law. So state may also intervene sometimes in the right of inheritance of the members of the religious community. How the state can intervene in a particular matter of the religious communities? Like if I talk about Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005. In 2005, Hindu Succession Amendment Act came. What was in this act? Right of inheritance was given to the women also. Earlier, the right in the property was being given to the male members only, the sons only. But according to the Hindu Succession Amendment Act, this act gives Hindu women the right to inheritance the agricultural land of their fathers. Now they are having right over the agricultural land of their fathers. But this particular Succession Amendment Act applies to the Hindu family only. Okay, it applies to the Hindu family only. That's why the name is Hindu Succession Amendment Act. It came in 2005. So if I talk about the conclusion of this, the state seeks to establish a positive intervention. This is the positive intervention. Okay. It grants permission to religious communities to set up the schools and the colleges. Sometimes to the religious community, the permission is also being given that you can set up your own schools and your own colleges. They give financial aid to them, other benefits also. It is a part of their fundamental right. All the religious communities have the right that they can administer the educational institution of their own choice. Every religious community is having this right that you can administer the educational institution of your choice. That is totally your choice. Whichever religious institution you want to set up, you can set up educational institution. Okay. So this was the topic of how Indian state functions as a secular. 3 points were there, 2 storyboards were there. We did.